Day 62, read the Bible in a year. Numbers 18, 19, and 20. Numbers 18. The Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons and your father's house with you shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary, and you and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood. Bring your brothers also, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, near with you, that they may be joined to you and minister to you. But you and your sons with you shall be before the tent of the testimony. They shall keep your commands and the duty of the whole tent. Only they shall not come near to the vessels of the sanctuary and to the altar, that they do not die, neither they nor you. They shall be joined to you and keep the responsibility of the tent of meeting for all the service of the tent. A stranger shall not come near to you. You shall perform the duty of the sanctuary and the duty of the altar, that there be no more wrath on the children of Israel. I myself have taken your brothers, the Levites, from amongst the children of Israel. They are a gift to you, dedicated to the Lord, to do the service of the tent of meeting. You and your sons with you shall keep your priesthood for everything of the altar, and for that within the veil you shall serve. I give you the service of the priesthood as a gift. The stranger who comes near shall be put to death." The Lord spoke to Aaron, "I myself have given you the command of my wave offerings, even all the holy things of the children of Israel. I have given them to you by reason of the anointing, and to your sons as a portion forever. This shall be yours of the most holy things from the fire. Every offering of theirs, even every meal offering of theirs, and every sin offering of theirs, and every trespass offering of theirs, which they shall render to me, shall be most holy for you and for your sons. You shall eat of it like the most holy things. Every male shall eat of it. It shall be holy to you. This is yours too, the wave offering of their gift, even all the wave offerings of the children of Israel. I have given them to you, and to your sons and to your daughters with you as a portion forever. Everyone who is clean in your house shall eat of it. I have given to you all the best of the oil, all the best of the vintage, and of the grain, the first fruits of them which they give to the Lord. The first ripe fruits of all that is in their land, which they bring to the Lord, shall be yours. Everyone who is clean in your house shall eat of it. Everything devoted in Israel shall be yours. Everything that opens the womb of all flesh, which they offer to the Lord, both of man and animal, shall be yours. Nevertheless, you shall surely redeem the firstborn of man, and you shall redeem the firstborn of unclean animals. You shall redeem those who are to be redeemed of them from a month old, according to your estimation, for 5 shekels of money, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, which weighs 20 gerahs. But you shall not redeem the firstborn of a cow, or the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat. They are holy. You shall sprinkle their blood on the altar, and shall burn their fat for an offering made by fire, for a pleasant aroma to the Lord. Their meat shall be yours, as the wave offering breast, and as the right thigh it shall be yours. All the wave offerings of the holy things which the children of Israel offer to the Lord, I have given you and your sons and your daughters with you, as a portion forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before the Lord to you and your offspring with you. The Lord said to Aaron, you shall have no inheritance in their land, neither shall you have any portion amongst them. I am your portion, and your inheritance among the children of Israel. To the children of Levi, I have given all the tithe in Israel for an inheritance, in return for their service which they serve, even the service of the tent of meeting. The children of Israel shall not come near the tent of meeting, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service of the tent of meeting, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. Among the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance. For the tithe of the children of Israel, which they offer as a wave offering to the Lord, I have given to the Levites for an inheritance. Therefore, I have said to them, Among the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Moreover, you shall speak to the Levites and tell them, when you take of the children of Israel the tithe which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then you shall offer up a wave offering of it for the Lord, a tithe of the tithe. Your wave offering shall be credited to you as though it were the grain of the threshing floor and as a fullness of the winepress. Thus you also shall offer a wave offering to the Lord of all your tithes, which you receive of the children of Israel, and of it you shall give the Lord's wave offering to Aaron the priest. Out of all your gifts you shall offer every wave offering to the Lord of all its best parts, even the holy part of it. Therefore you shall tell them, when you heave its best from it, then it shall be credited to the Levites as the increase of the threshing floor and as the increase of the winepress. You may eat it anywhere, you and your households, for it is your reward in return for your service in the tent of meeting. You shall bear no sin by reason of it. When you have heaved from it its best, you shall not profane the holy things of the children of Israel, that you not die.
Numbers chapter 19. The Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, This is the statute of the law which the Lord has commanded. Tell the children of Israel to bring you a red heifer, without spot, in which is no defect, and which was never yoked. You shall give her to Eleazar the priest, and he shall bring her outside the camp, and one shall kill her before his face. Eleazar the priest shall take some of her blood with his finger, and sprinkle her blood towards the front of the tent of meeting 7 times. One shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin, and her meat, and her blood, with her dung shall he burn. The priest shall take cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet, and cast it into the middle of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water. And afterward he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until the evening. He who burns her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until the evening. A man who is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and lay them up outside of the camp in a clean place. And it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for use in water for cleansing. It is a sin offering. He who gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. It shall be to the children of Israel and to the stranger who lives as a foreigner among them for a statute forever. He who touches the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself with water, and on the 3rd day and on the 7th day he shall be clean. If he doesn't purify himself the 3rd day, then the 7th day he shall not be clean. Whoever touches a dead person, the body of a man who has died, and doesn't purify himself, defiles the Lord's tabernacle, and that soul shall be cut off from Israel, because the water for impurity was not sprinkled on him. He shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet on him. This is the law when a man dies in a tent. Everyone who comes into the tent and everyone who is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days. Every open vessel which has no covering bound on it is unclean. Whoever is in the open field touches one who is slain with a sword, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. For the unclean they shall take of the ashes of the burning of the sin offering, and running water shall be poured on them in a vessel. A clean person shall take hyssop, dip it in the water, and sprinkle it on the tent, on all the vessels, on the persons who were there, and on him who touched the bone, or the slain, or the dead, or the grave. The clean person shall sprinkle on the unclean on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. On the 7th day he shall purify him. He shall wash his clothes, bathe himself in water, and shall be clean at evening. But the man who shall be unclean and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the assembly, because he's defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water for impurity has not been sprinkled on him. He is unclean. It shall be a perpetual statute for them. He who sprinkles the water for impurity shall wash his clothes. And he who touches the water for impurity shall be unclean until evening. Whatever the unclean person touches shall be unclean, and the soul that touches it shall be unclean until evening.
Numbers 20. The children of Israel, even the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month. The people stayed in Kadesh. Miriam died there and was buried there. There was no water for the congregation, and they assembled themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. The people quarreled with Moses and spoke, saying, "We wish that we had died when our brothers died before the Lord. Why have you brought the Lord's assembly into this wilderness that we should die there, we and our animals? Why have you made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? It is no place of seed or of figs or vines or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink." Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. The Lord's glory appeared to them. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the rod and assemble the congregation, you and Aaron your brother, and speak to the rock before their eyes, that it pour out its water. You shall bring water to them out of the rock, so you shall give the congregation and their livestock drink." Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he commanded him. Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, "Hear now, you rebels. Shall we bring water out of this rock for you?" Moses lifted up his hand and struck the rock with his rod twice, and water came out abundantly. The congregation and their livestock drank. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you didn't believe in me, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them." These are the waters of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them. Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom, saying, "Your brother Israel says, you know all the travail that has happened to us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we lived in Egypt a long time. The Egyptians mistreated us and your fathers, our fathers. When we cried to the Lord, he heard our voice, sent an angel, and brought us out of Egypt. We are now in Kadesh, a city in the edge of your border. Please let us pass through your land. We will not pass through field or through vineyard, neither will we drink from the water of the wells. We will go along the king's highway. We will not turn away to the right hand or to the left until we have passed your border." Edom said to him, "You shall not pass through me, lest I come out with the sword against you." The children of Israel said to him, "We will go up by the highway, and if we drink your water, I and my livestock, then I will give its price. Only let me, without doing anything else, pass through on my feet." He said, "You shall not pass through." Edom came out against him with many people and with a strong hand. Thus, Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, so Israel turned away from him. They traveled from Kadesh, and the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, came to Mount Hor. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the border of the land of Edom, saying, "Aaron shall be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because he rebelled against my word at the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son. Aaron shall be gathered, and shall die there." Moses did as the Lord commanded. They went up on Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son. Aaron died there on the top of the mountain, and Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. When all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they wept for Aaron, 30 days, even all the house of Israel. It's really neat to see God's consistency throughout the scriptures. He has, guidance and different things set in place for the people to follow, and he has a plan. He always has a plan. It's just never chaotic, but there's always a plan, one thing after another. And one thing that he plans here is with the Levites, and he sets them apart. They had been set apart before, and then he calls the Israelites to give 1/10 of everything, to do a tithe, to give to the Levites to support them, and then for the Levites to give 1/10 of what they have to God, sacrifices and things, and just how he's taking care of the people. He's planning for their eventual death, because at this point, between chapters 19 and 20, that's been 38 years. So the people are getting to the time where they're not going to be entering into the promised land. The people that God had said weren't going to enter, that's around 2 million people. And so all the different types of ceremonies that the Levites have to do has to do with purification of the dead. So God is, again, with his plan, preparing the people, because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to die.
It's true. It reminds me, though, the 10th. We focus a lot about the 10th. But God doesn't need these people's money. He was just getting them ready to be generous with all that they've been given. I think he was teaching them, I've been generous with you, therefore you be generous with the people around you. He was setting these people up and teaching them basic morality for taking care of the community. And especially those who are in service to the Lord and service to the people. Make sure you're taking care of those people. But it's interesting, the next chapter, we see Miriam die. And she was very well esteemed in the whole nation of Israel, among the tribes of Israel. And this is the point where we see the generation that came next start to complain because they didn't have water. Miriam, I guess, was the one who was leading the people to the water. I'm not too sure. I didn't quite catch the reference there. But God commands Moses and Aaron to go speak to the rock. And even Moses, in his humility, still makes mistakes. We see that. He disobeyed God. And he hits the rock. Maybe it was a throwback to when he originally did it. I don't know. But there's consequences to that action. He disobeyed God. And God said, because of your disobedience, you and Aaron will not be able to enter the promised land either.
Yeah, he was supposed to just speak to the rock, but he banged that rock 2 times. Yeah. Maybe he was frustrated with the people. He was human.
Yeah.
And he was about 120 years at this point, and maybe I don't know what he was thinking, because up to this point he'd been so obedient, and you'd think that, okay, he's been so obedient at this point. God, why would you punish him like this? You're not going to allow him to enter into the promised land because of him hitting the rock twice. But he did have the responsibility of being the leader of the people, the responsibility of really being an example in his life, being an example in his obedience to God. And God does hold leaders more responsible. As leaders, leaders have to have high integrity in their life because of the example that is being set. And, not just being set, but just always also showing people how to live. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to be perfect, but definitely it means that people need to be obedient, and especially as a leader.
The last chapter is interesting. I was thinking when they requested to pass through the land of Edom, it's a callback to broken relationships, I think.
Yeah.
And how important our relationships in this world are. Edom were the descendants of Esau, who is the brother of Jacob. Jacob and Esau, if we remember back, they were the ones that were fighting, 2 brothers fighting. Jacob's descendants are the Israelites. So here we've got the Israelites and the Edomites, who are distant relatives, not getting along. How sad that one generation's mistakes can affect even multiple generations.
So true to see that he wouldn't even let him pass through for whatever reason. But, that has to do with our relationships. And you see the difference between those who were God's people. They're just trying to get to the promised land. They're just trying to get there. At this point, it had been 38 years. It was supposed to be 11 days. And I mean, that's been a lot of time. And I think that is also showing that we need to be patient. God will do things in his time and in his way, and that we just have to trust him. There is a promised land, and I think that's the moral, one of the many morals, but that God does have a promised land, and he's going to test us. He's going to test us and really purify us and cause us to grow through the testing. And so here they had been walking through the wilderness, not necessarily wandering around because God was with them the whole time. They were following God, but they were walking in the wilderness here for 38 years. And now the people who God had said were going to go into the promised land, they're getting ready. And it doesn't include Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron dies on the mountain, as we read there, and passes the mantle to his son.
And so here we see the next stage, just getting prepared to go into the promised land.
True. See you again next time.